Welcome back to the My Latin Life podcast. Since 2014, My Latin Life has been your trusted guide to traveling and living in Latin America. Our guest today is Marcos Ruiz. He's the CEO of the BirdHous. It's a Twitter ghostwriting agency. He's also the official, unofficial co-host of the Like Saint Cash podcast.
That's fair. That is fair. I like to tease him and say I'm a recurring guest until he makes it official.
So that's where I first heard about you, is the Like Saint Cash podcast co-hosted by JK Molina. I think a lot of my audience will know JK just through Twitter, Money Twitter, that kind of thing. And that's where I first heard about you. And I was like, wait, this guy, he's like the voice of reason on the podcast. And it's very obvious that he's successful with his own thing. You build businesses online. So in this episode, we'll talk about making money online, Twitter, a little travel, see where it takes us.
Hell yeah, let's do it.
Sweet. Yeah, I think this episode for the audience is like one of the ones where I just invited on someone that I wanted to get to know a little better, right? uh, so that's
Yeah, it's funny. I've seen your stuff on Twitter for such a long time, and it's like I feel like the kind of I don't know what to call it. The nomad niche is really interesting. There's like the Asia nomads. There's like the Latin America nomad stuff, which I feel like you're at the forefront of that. And then there's a lot of people in Europe. I've obviously lived the digital nomad life, so I think it's amazing. I actually just tweeted this out. I was like, digital nomad is like study abroad for entrepreneurs. I just tweeted that out the other day, and I'm like, because I think about it all the time, and
I like
I
that.
actually I just started giving this advice. I'm like, I feel like everybody should do it. Like you have to try it. I feel like it's one of those life experiences that there's just like no replacement for, because
Uh-huh.
you're able to live a life and be exposed to like some sort of culture whichever country you choose, some culture that you've never been exposed to in your entire life. You're going to meet more people from different walks of life that you've ever met. So it's going to expand your perspective more than anything ever will. And then additionally, on top of that, is you get to live a completely different life. I remember when I was living abroad, it was just like scootering everywhere. I barely wore shoes and I barely wore a shirt. And I was working, early in the mornings, just from any coffee shop or from my desk. And everything was just so almost like a utopia.
In Bali.
So it's right in Bali, and it's so hard to explain. It's funny because the reason we left was the time zone, and I always think I'm like, man, what if we did Latin America where it's Eastern time zone for the most part? So I was like, well, that could have been a complete game changer.
Yeah, we got the jungle vibes, man. We're waiting for you.
Yeah, I haven't been to. I have to say, I haven't been to South America yet. I haven't went more south in the Caribbean. I mean, I'm Puerto Rican myself, so I've been there a few times, and I've been to Mexico, a couple different places in Mexico, but I've wanted to make it further south.
Yeah. So I guess before we jump in, let's like hit on a couple uh, just basic information so we know about you a little more. So Marcos Ruiz, Puerto Rican descent, American. You're living in Miami, Florida,
Yeah, I live in Miami right now.
and have you always lived in Miami?
No, so it's funny. I was born in Florida. I lived there for about 10 years, and then I did like my real formative high school, middle school years, and college in Boston,
Okay.
Massachusetts, and then from there I moved. I started kind of bopping around as an entrepreneur into New York City. I did Bali. Now I'm in Miami, and I'll probably head back to my home roots up in New England soon. So, yeah, I've definitely been kind of bopping around for a while.
Okay, so you're more of a New Englander than a Florida boy.
Yeah, yeah, it catches people off guard. Like I'm a New Englander, and I love it up there.
Okay. What neighborhood or county in Boston?
Do you know like the Lowell area?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm from like the Merrimack Valley, so it's like North Massachusetts, Southern New Hampshire.
Okay, now that you mentioned, I believe you've talked about Lowell on the Like Saint Cash podcast a couple times.
Yeah, yeah, it's tough because not everyone's really heard of it, so I have to tell everyone Boston. But realistically, it's more like North Shore, Merrimack Valley, up there.
Okay, cool. So your story maybe as well is a little bit inspired by escaping the cold.
Yeah, it's funny. I always wanted to. I've always wanted to travel a lot. That's kind of that was one of my original inspirations for becoming an entrepreneur, was kind of the entire laptop lifestyle, work from anywhere mentality. I mean, you can go back on my Instagram. Actually, they might be hidden, but I used to be posting these Instagram posts back in 2019 when I first started an online business, and I would post like from these Airbnbs, like hashtag work from anywhere, hashtag laptop lifestyle. I remember reading Four
Hmm.
Hour Work Week way back then, Rich Dad Poor Dad, and that was kind of
Hmm.
my intro to this online space. And that was like my initial motivation was like I want to be able to work from anywhere in the world, and I
Hmm.
still live by that to this day. Like I told you, I'm headed to Spain tomorrow. I backpacked Europe last month. I travel pretty much 10 times a year. So I spend a large majority of the year traveling. And I tell even our team members, my employees, I tell them, I'm like, that's the lifestyle. I want to live the same life as you. So like, I want you guys to go and travel. I have a writer that's in Hawaii right now. So I always tell them, I'm like, you guys should live this laptop lifestyle too. And that's kind of a big culture aspect to our business. And yeah, I think everyone should live it for a while because I think it's amazing.
Hmm. And you're maintaining an apartment in Miami, I guess?
Yeah, I'm maintaining an apartment in Miami. Probably gonna go buy a house and get. I always tell people I like having a home base, and traveling. So I've done the travel without the home base and did like the minimalist life where I basically had like no possessions and a laptop.
Uh-huh.
My preference is having more of a home base that I can work out of and then travel from there and have somewhere to keep all my stuff and have somewhere to go back to.
And growing up in Boston, obviously a big tech community there, more than enough entrepreneurs, but you decided to mix it up and kind of base up in Miami. It's an interesting choice.
Yeah, it's tough. It's like you would think that there's more. I'd say Massachusetts, New England, Boston. It has a good like corporate environment, but not really this like online entrepreneur, which I'd consider us like in the internet money space.
Hmm.
So yeah, when I went to Bali and went like the more digital nomad life, it was like I also wanted to get that and have kind of more networking opportunities with people kind of in our space, and there definitely was, and that was also the thought process here in Miami was to kind of get around more people in the online space, which has also been pretty good. There's definitely a lot of people here in the space, especially where I live in Brickell.
I'm not sure if you've told the story. You probably have, at least in parts, but I would love to hear maybe the actual step by step of some of the big breaks. I don't know if you want to precede this by like saying some numbers where you're at now or anything like that to hit them with some authority. But I would love to just hear how you kind of built your, the
Yeah,
big moment of your online career.
yeah, I'm definitely. I'll go through it from the beginning. For context, we'll do seven figures this year. We have a team of six now, so six full time employees or five full time employees plus me. We were just on Starter Story, so go check out that video. It was really cool. Um, so you can kind of see the behind the scenes there. But yeah, when I first started, I was living in New York City. It's funny at the time I was actually doing like NFT flipping. That was kind of like my thing at the time, and that's one of the main kind of entry points I had on Twitter. Is I was building a personal brand as a pudgy penguin like NFT flipper back
Hmm.
then. Um, Basically the crypto market, once it started to tank, I was like, okay, I need to do something that's not dependent on the health of the crypto market. And I ended up switching to copywriting. So copywriting, for those who don't know, it's essentially just writing for sales and writing for businesses. And I started doing freelance copywriting on Upwork. And then I was scrolling through Twitter and I was already on like crypto Twitter. I had been on like sports Twitter and I found JK Molina's uh, posts back in the day, way back in the day. And he kind of introduced me to what I do now, which is ghostwriting. So from there, I just started freelance ghostwriting. One thing led to another. I started sending Twitter DMs, got my first, 1K a month client. Um, I ended up getting my first 3K a month client October 2022. Uh, from there, I went basically 0 to 10K a month in like 90 days. I hired my first employee December 2022. We hit 30K a month. I think that January, February of 2023. That's when I brought on my second full time employee. Um, so we ended up having a team of four back then. scaled it up to about 60K a month, kind of stagnated summer 2023. Um, and then we just kept pushing, pushing, and now to this day, we're going to do over 7 figures this year, and we have a team of 5. So that's kind of like the quick way of going through
Okay. And these are all clients paying you between, I don't know, 1 and 8K a month, and you just
it.
stack all these contracts.
Yeah, anywhere from 3 to like 10K plus a month. It really just depends on the needs of the person. We have clients on rev share performance deals. We have clients who are just like base retainer. We do a bit of consulting. We have a couple of low ticket courses. So now like the offer suite has definitely expanded. But yeah, the essential services, we write people's tweets, write their threads, write their LinkedIn posts, stuff like that. And we help them make more money than they pay us.
Yeah, definitely makes sense. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the best thing to sell, right? Is making more money to rich people.
Yeah, well, when I first started, it was like the whole niche, and you probably remember back in the day, the whole ghostwriting craze kind of went, it kind of popped off like 2022. Everyone wanted to be a ghostwriter, right? Back then, it was like you promise, however many 10,000 followers in 3 months, and I was like, well, this is really hard. I remember I got like 3 or 4 people on this like 5K follower guarantee, and you end up sometimes hitting it, sometimes not, and then you're stuck fulfilling for this person for like 6 months, and it was really difficult. So I was like, there's got to be a better way. And I was like, well, what if I can just make them like 5K a month? Well, they'll pay me 2K a month, right? If I make them 10K a month, they'll pay me 3K a month, and so on and so forth. And so we figured out basically how to help people grow followers and make sales, and then that allowed us to start increasing our prices and having longer uh, retention and stuff like that.
And remind me, how old are you now?
I'm 26.
26. Cool.
Yeah,
So you're definitely you have a lot of room to grow.
yeah, definitely. It's like I'm not. I don't know. How old are you?
A little older,
Yeah,
not too much, not too much for a
I
little.
I always try to tell like I'm not in like the this young buck group. Like there's I feel like there's like multiple different categories, right? Like I'm not in the young buck group of people who are like 21, and like that's probably why you don't see me doing like this whole Rolex kind of vibe. And then but I'm definitely a lot younger than a lot of people who might have like kids. So I'm in that middle of the pack group. Which is why I'm still hopefully trying to push a lot more travel and stuff like that. But I'm also, a little bit settling down. So I consider myself the middle of the pack, which is also why I don't fit with Gen Z. But I'm also technically not a millennial. It's that weird 1998 to 1996 group.
Okay. And I
Yeah.
would love to keep going. And so you were living in New York. You decided to go to Bali. How
Hmm.
long did you stay? Tell us about kind of the roller coaster experience. I'm sure it was a whirlwind.
Yeah, it was crazy. So I did 1 year in New York, and then from New York we were like, it's cold. Um, the city cold is much different than like like the New Hampshire like forest cold. It was just brutal. So we headed to Bali. We were like, let's be. And when I say we, me and my girlfriend, she's also a business owner. Um, we were like, let's do this digital nomad life. So we just ripped it over to Bali in May of last year, 2023. We stayed out there for 6 months, just outside of Canggu. Um, and we lived in a 3 bedroom, 3 bathroom villa with a pool, cleaners, everything, the whole shebang. We went hard. It wasn't the cheapest. I mean, it was like what 2,700 a month. I mean, there's between 2 people, so you end up splitting it. But it was an amazing life. Like it was just amazing. Everything was delivered. We had our coffee delivered to us every morning. All 3 meals were eating out. We did not cook a single thing for 6 months. The
Nice.
gym was an amazing gym with like cold plunge sauna. Everyone at the gym is like a jacked model or influencer. I'm just like it was great, like so motivating. That's what you get, in my opinion, with a lot of these digital nomad hubs is you just get like amazing people that are motivated, and you get an amazing lifestyle, and you get amazing weather. So it's unreal.
Mm. Yeah, I feel like all these hub cities, they have like a couple high end gyms where you actually like see and are among like some pretty big names.
Yeah, it's weird. It is. It's so true that they do that. There's probably like three gyms that everyone went to. The problem with it is they can get a little crowded, and they definitely charge you like pure American prices. Like it was probably like $200 a month. But
Yeah.
yeah, but it's like it's one of your only
I
expenses.
mean, it keeps people out. I mean,
Yeah,
there's one in Playa del Carmen called Evolve. I think a lot of people listening to this will probably know it. And like, it's one of the only decent gyms in the city that has a sauna and stuff like that. And
right.
it's packed busy. I think it's $100 a month, maybe more now. And yeah, you see like all these like influencers and stuff. It's kind of crazy. You'll be like, "Who's that chick?" I'll be like, "Oh yeah, she's got like 200K or something." Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's how it was at this gym. It was like every single person was some sort of competitor in fitness, bodybuilding, modeling, or like a fitness influencer. Like cameras up everywhere. You cannot go work out if you're not okay being on camera. And then it was like
Oh
pretty
man.
intimidating because I'm coming from like New York City, and I have a New York City body, is what I'll say at the
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
So I get
yeah.
in, and there's just like all these dudes that are just so ripped, and they're doing like muscle up, clapping, push ups, like Muay Thai. There was like Muay Thai training. I was
Uh-huh.
just like, all right, I need to lock in.
That's one benefit of living on the beach is everyone has a beach body, or at least they have it kind of in the back of their mind. Like I can't look horrible,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
Uh, anyway, so in like you met a lot of people. Did it help grow your business?
Yeah. So it's interesting. It's like part of it, we definitely met people out there who were in our space. But, when we left, my business was doing, give or take 20, 30K a month. I think it was doing that 30-ish K a month at the time. Julia's business was doing probably around the same. Um, we both ended up scaling. So like I scaled to 60K a month while I was in Bali, and she scaled to like 100K a month at the time. So we just outgrew our living situation very fast because the problem with Bali is that you're working at 5 a.m. to like 9 a.m. and then you work from 5 p.m. to like 10 p.m. because those are the
Mm,
time slots, right, for all the calls.
yeah.
So our teams were waking up at those times, and that's when sales calls and client calls were. So we'd work at the weirdest times, and as business grew, we were just more and more busy. So we definitely grew our business, and I definitely would say Bali helped with that in terms of just like how it goes in these countries and in South America or any digital nomad place. You have fresh food. Everything is so much more convenient and like everything's very convenient and like low priced. You can afford an amazing lifestyle. So we were getting massages twice a week, and like I said, every meal was paid for. It was just like a very
Yeah.
utopia lifestyle, which definitely contributed to us um, helping scale our businesses because pretty much the only thing we had to do was scale our business and work out and go to the beach.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I definitely think it helped a lot. But yeah, once the teams grew too big, we had to leave. So it depends on your ambitions. Like if we wanted to stay at 10, 20K, 30K a month, we could just stay forever, but we both just wanted to scale harder.
Yeah. Time zone's a weird one.
Yeah, that's where I was like, man, what if we did, Medellin or Buenos Aires or some of these countries that I see a lot of people going to? I'm like, we would have had the best of both worlds.
Hmm. Yeah, I think just any new location gives you like a new burst of energy. And I think that helps contribute to it. And just the opportunity to make a new routine. And even better yet, if you're in a place where there's a community of other entrepreneurs and you kind of get some feedback, right?
Totally agree. Do you have entrepreneur friends out in where you're at in South America?
Yeah, it depends where. It's probably not, Bali is like probably one of the biggest congregations in the world. Miami's a good one
Yeah.
too. As I mentioned, like Playa del Carmen has like a lot of internet
Mm,
entrepreneurs, like ecom guys, professional poker players, like the whole range,
wow.
right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it depends on the place. Depends where. Asuncion, Paraguay, where I am at this exact moment. There's a lot of crypto guys because there's like crypto mining and like no taxes and stuff. So yeah, I think different cities have slightly different profiles, even though you'll kind of get a mixed bag of everything in digital nomad hubs. I think certain digital nomad hubs do have a bit of a focus.
Is El Salvador the one that kind of cleaned up and just became like one of these top countries? Was that El Salvador?
Yeah.
The one where it's like the big how is that a place that's a hub yet, or is it something that's coming?
Yeah, I'd say a lot of people are going there. Like the hotels are like full capacity, and
Really?
yeah, a lot of people have been going for sure. They just had the inauguration of the president, like what was that, week or two ago at the time of this recording, and he invited like all these celebrities from the U.S. Like Tucker Carlson went,
Wow.
a whole bunch of people, Zuby from Twitter went, uh, like bunch of random stuff. A lot of Twitter people that I saw. So, but yeah,
That seems like a
El
cool
Salvador's
place.
popping. El Salvador's
Yeah, it feels
popping.
like a place I'd want to get like property and citizenship in. It seems like at the next Dubai.
Yeah, there you go. You
Yeah.
could. Were you born in Puerto Rico?
No, I wasn't born in Puerto Rico. My dad was raised in Puerto Rico. Both my parents are Puerto Rican, but I was born in I was born in Orlando, Florida.
Okay, cool. No, just
Yeah.
wondering because sometimes Puerto Ricans have special rights to like naturalize faster in
Ah,
Spain and in El Salvador and in certain countries because it's considered part of the Latin community.
that's a good thing to know. I'm gonna
Yeah,
check
yeah,
that
yeah.
out. I want to start getting more passports. I've been seeing you and I've been seeing Alex Becker talk about it. So now I'm like, I want to get on that. I've always wanted to have multiple passports. It's definitely um, now that I have a little bit more time, I'm like, I definitely want to get at least a few. What are some of the ones you recommend?
Oh man, anything in Latin America is very achievable in just a couple of years. So wherever you like, and ideally somewhere that's low taxes, right? So it doesn't like create a headache as an American. I do want to, Marcos, kind of continue with the story. So you did 6 months in Bali. You're sipping coconuts. You're going to business. You're working weird hours, but things are growing. You come back to the States. You come back to Florida. You're, I guess, in a whole different position than when you left. When you were like oscillating 10 to 30K. Now you're at 60K. Now you're a big baller.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say coming to Florida. I mean, the whole we came to Florida. We were just like, we want to lock in. Like we didn't want to sip any more coconuts, and we were pretty much. It's funny. We live here. We've been to the beach one time in a year. Like we actually just came here to lock in, which is exactly what we've done. Um, so yeah, we came to Florida, and I've been expanding the team a little bit. Um, Done a little bit of networking, met some clients. I've been flying around meeting clients. I met JK out in Poland maybe like 3 weeks ago or a month ago. So yeah, I've just been 100% focused on business now. Where even our condo here, it's like my office, it's my office, her office, our bedroom, and that's it. And that's pretty much our entire priority right now. Um, but yeah, I came to Miami, have scaled it up even more. We'll do probably 80, 85K this month. So yeah, it's been great.
And when for people who are unfamiliar, I guess this is revenue,
Yeah, cash revenue. Yeah,
like cash collected revenue. Okay.
yeah. Cash collect. Yeah, we obviously have like operating expenses. I have 5 employees, stuff like that.
Yeah, and when you say, I think building a team is like a really interesting thing because a lot of people are able to do something to freelance and they hit a ceiling where, maybe they're even pretty good at getting clients or doing pretty well, but you really have to build a team in order to get beyond a ceiling of whatever it is, 10K a month. And when I go to certain entrepreneurial meetups, agency owners, that's all they're talking about is like how to scale.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like when I first started, I'd say like the entire first 6 to 7 months of my business, my entire life was basically wake up, write tweets from 6 a.m. to 11 a.m. I vividly remember my girlfriend got me this Smeg coffee maker, like a really expensive coffee maker. I'd make an entire pot of Cafe Bustelo black coffee espresso style, and
Hmm.
I would just drink it for the entire 5 hours of the morning and write tweets. I'd write my personal brand tweets, which is essentially the marketing department of my company, and
Hmm.
then I would write my clients' tweets. And then I'd go to the gym at 11, I'd eat lunch, and at 1 o'clock, I would take sales calls and client calls from 1 p.m. up until the end of the day. If I didn't have sales calls, I would send outbound DMs. And I lived that life every single day for 6 months. And then to the point where I scaled it too much to where I literally had no time because I had too many tweets to write and too many calls. I hired a VA in December 2022. Then I hired or maybe November. Then I hired my first writer in December, who is now my creative director. I hired my second writer in maybe January, February, who's one of our senior writers now. And I just had to keep hiring because I was like, well, what else can I possibly do? It's like you just said, it's like eventually you just don't have enough time.
Hmm.
So I had to hire people that I could slowly get out of operations and then fulfillment and, start to put the pieces together. And then you basically, once you cap out and once you hire, you'll cap out again. And then you have to learn an entirely new skill. Because, as a freelancer or a beginner agency owner, your first skills are really sales, marketing, and the actual fulfillment of whatever service you're doing, ads, SEO, ghostwriting. But then once you have that team kind of built, it's like, okay, where's the course on team management and KPI setting and hiring and being a CEO? It doesn't really exist, right? It's tough. So you have to essentially learn all of that through trial and error for however long.
And your team or your staff, are they in the US? Are they
Mm-hmm.
VAs or overseas?
Yeah, so I originally hired my first ever employee, who was my executive assistant. I hired her through a VA agency called Hire UA. I ended up buying her
Kyle
out.
Trouble.
Yeah, Kyle.
He's been on the podcast.
Oh, beautiful! I just don't want to give free promo to anyone. I don't even know if if you had like a VA business or something.
No, no, shout out Kyle Trouble.
Yeah,
Shout out
totally. I mean,
hireua.com.
I shout him out all the time. So I hired her name's Sonia through Hire UA. She's now my operations manager. I bought that talent out because she was so amazing. Now my entire operations team is based out in Eastern Europe, you know, Poland, Lithuania, whatever. My writing team is based in the U.S. and Canada, so they're all from Toronto, New Jersey, etc. And then me, so also U.S. based. So yeah, the operations team, Eastern Europe. The creative team is North America.
Cool. I like it. International
Yeah,
team.
yeah, it's fun. I mean, like I said, I tell my team all the time to travel. So like, people in my team are always in different countries all the time, and I think it's great. It's like I never want to be that CEO who's like living some lavish lifestyle that they can't live. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, well, I'm gonna go to Spain. Y'all should head to Hawaii. Like I think it's cool. I think everyone should live that life. I don't think you need to be an entrepreneur to be a nomad.
Hey guys, quick break from the podcast to tell you about job stacking. If you're a remote or hybrid worker looking to maximize your earning potential, then Rolf Haltza, author of Job Stacking, guarantees you'll be able to double your income by implementing his paycheck multiplication layering method. This is the exact system Rolf has used to take his own income and those of many others beyond $20K a month. With this method, Rolf contractually guarantees that you'll be able to double your income in 45 days. So, if you're interested in unleashing your earning potential and doubling your income, then click the link in the description and book a call with Rolf right now. Hey guys, quick break from the episode to tell you about BitRefill. BitRefill allows you to shop online and in person without banks, converting your crypto directly into merchant balance. We're talking gift cards to Nike, Amazon, Apple, Airbnb, Hotels.com, and many more, all paid for with crypto. BitRefill offers more than 10,000 gift card options in 180 countries all across Latin America, including Brazil, Colombia, Mexico, Argentina, El Salvador, and many more. You can also apply the code MyLatinLife at checkout to get 10% back on your first purchase. Go to bitrefill.com for more information. Definitely. And do you think that tweeting is? Do you think you're like one of the people who understands Twitter the best?
Yeah. Um, I humbly think we're the best for sure. I think we have like an understanding that other people don't quite have. I think part of it comes from having the most amount of feedback. Like we have the biggest feedback loop because we have access to so many people's accounts. we're putting out hundreds of pieces of content a week, thousands per month across dozens of niches. It's just like no one could possibly have as much information and data as we do, other than the owners of Twitter. So, yeah, I do think we're the best. We also get the best results for sure.
And do you do particular niches or?
Yeah, so we actually do every niche. We are one of our main things that we always tell people, and one of the main things that I use in our marketing is like we only work with a handful of people per niche. So we don't like to have, if we could only have one person per niche and have 50 niches, we'd prefer that, because it allows us to not compete with ourselves. We don't want our clients necessarily competing.
Mhm.
So yeah, we work across, I think at the moment we work in like 12 niches, 11 or 12 niches. And that could be anything like e-commerce, small business acquisitions, cleaning, fitness, mindset, like it's writing, software, like literally everything.
Okay, it makes sense. You just know the platform and what works
Yeah,
and
it's
what
more fun.
doesn't. And
Right. And it's more fun that way too. The research, like we're doing research on what's viral and competitor research and niche research. And we have our own frameworks that we can apply to every niche. And as well as, the nature of it being a personal brand is like each person's themselves is their own niche as well. So, it's more fun that way. Like it'd be really boring if we had like 15 freaking, I don't know, Amazon FBA guys. It'd be really weird.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I have a question for you. The business is the BirdHous, and the BirdHous on Twitter only follows three accounts: you, X, the platform, and best ads of all time.
Yeah. So, what's is the question? Why?
It's please comment. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's funny is like I didn't know who to follow on that account, and I was like, so best ads is a theme page that JK started with Dakota and Dan Co. And he let us take it over and post some stuff on there. But basically, I just followed things that were relevant to the birdhouse. I thought it followed Elon Musk too, but yeah, I was just supposed to follow things relevant to the birdhouse. There wasn't that much thought behind it.
I see. Okay, so we know who's behind it now. It's actually not super active, but it's like it's a lot. It's still alive. The best ads of
Yeah,
all
it's
time.
yeah. I feel like it kind of hit a ceiling, but we'll have to test some new stuff on that account and see what we can hit. I feel like the best ads TAM. I always talk about this as it's a golden nugget, but I always talk about I think every niche has a TAM.
Hmm.
So total addressable market. I feel like every niche that you're in is going to have a ceiling on followers, and there you really have to pivot to kind of transcend that ceiling. You don't have to change your brand or change your offer. You just have to kind of change up a little bit of what you talk about, depending on the TAM. And like an example of this is like Alex Becker. He hit however many 100,000 followers through call it money Twitter or like make money online, and it was like maybe 400,000 followers. He made the transition to crypto, and now he's at 1 million followers almost. So that transition is how you kind of transcend your TAM, and we've seen this. Many people do this. I Show Speed, the streamer, did it when he kind of transitioned into soccer or football, depending on where you're watching this. He transitioned to football, and his brand just exploded. Like he went universal. So, yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, because I find that Twitter follower accounts are pretty low relative to say other platforms. Like you wouldn't consider 20K on Instagram to be anything. It's like a nothing burger
Mm.
almost, but on Twitter, it's like actually has some weight to it.
I totally agree, especially if it's like an active 20K. I think Twitter just has the highest level of audience. Um, yeah, and I agree. I think in order of like platforms where you want to have the most and where it means the most, I'd say like YouTube's probably number one. Then you probably drop down into Twitter / TikTok. TikTok, you'll have more followers. It means more if you have a ton of followers, like 10 million, but most people just don't get that point. So, like, I would say 20K on Twitter is worth 10 times more than 20K on TikTok or Instagram.
Hmm.
But I'd say YouTube is definitely number one in terms of worth. Like,
Really?
I'd say it goes, yeah, like, I mean, yeah, YouTube's like, the thing about YouTube is you get one, the conversion rate on those subscribers, assuming they're active, is really high because they're spending so much time with you. Um, I would say the curveball is actually like Twitch. Twitch is honestly number one. Like it goes by time spent with you. So like I have a buddy who has 100K subs on YouTube, but he gets 5K concurrent live stream viewers every day on his live stream. So anything he tweets now gets like 1,000 likes with like he only has like 30K on Twitter. So it all comes from that cult following that you're able to build. The more time people spend with you on your content and your face to face, is the more loyal they'll be, the more they'll engage with you, and the more they'll convert from a business perspective into sales. So
Mm.
YouTube, especially if you're posting long form videos, they spend so much time with you that they convert at such a high rate, which is why I say that like that Hamza Ahmed guy, who's doing like 500-600K a month on his low ticket school offer with only, he had like less than 1 million subs. He was able to do that because they're spending so much time with him. So um, yeah, not to go on a tangent, but yeah, like Twitch, YouTube is like kind of in its own category, and then I'd say like Twitter's definitely above like Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn.
That's a good way of putting it. Yeah, that definitely makes sense. I think Twitter is great because it has that sort of like two-way playing field where with YouTube you're like passively watching, or it's hard to like proactively reach out to your audience. You have to like
Yeah,
dangle a carrot so they come to you and like click the link in the description or whatever.
totally
But
agree.
Twitter is like is a full padding sport or something.
Totally agree. Like I like if I was like a beginner freelancer or agency owner, Twitter is absolutely the best place too because like you said, you're able to just kind of reach out to people. Anyone who follows you, you could just shoot them a DM immediately and be like, "Hey, what's up, man? How are you? Why'd you follow me? Oh, what
Mm.
can I help you? Is there anything I can do for you? Are you interested in my offer?" You can't do that on YouTube. So like especially as like a young hustler agency owner freelancer, 100% Twitter. And I say that completely biasly because that's what I did.
So I gotta ask, who is the type of person that can pay 10K a month for Twitter ghostwriting services? Like, how can someone's Twitter budget alone be over $100,000 a year? They must be. That's nuts.
Yeah, yeah, I'd say someone who one has a high ticket offer, and someone who can make 30, 40, 50, 100K a month from Twitter. So we are typically looking for somebody who has a high ticket offer and has the active sales systems or is willing to build that sales funnel or those sales systems to actually monetize the content we're putting out. We provide a lot more than just content too, to be fair. Like we're providing SOPs, scripts, playbooks, tracking centers, databases. Like we're providing a lot of stuff so that they're able to monetize effectively. And we track all of this stuff and we report it. So, but yeah, the short answer is someone who makes 100K a month can pay 10K a month, right?
And do you sort of open Twitter as like a green field for people where it's like, hey, they're big on another platform, let's make you big on Twitter? Or do you take someone that's already successful on Twitter and then convince them to give you access to their account, to their
It's
baby?
funny. It's funny because I my answer now is so much different than in the past. Like now it's yes to all of them. There's people we've taken who already have 300K followers on Twitter and they're just looking to outsource. There's people who have 0 followers and never made a sale, but they're willing to like go all in and like try and make the business work. And those people have crushed it with us. And then there's people who are big on other platforms, which is probably the most common. They're either the most common is two people: the person who's big on another platform who is wants to now add Twitter or LinkedIn to that stack, and then the other side is the person who's a really successful business owner and they just want to build a personal brand now to
Yeah.
kind of accompany that business success. Those are the two most common. But yeah, I prefer the person who is big on other platforms or like has a big ish audience, like 10K on YouTube or something like that, because they tend to already have the assets that we're able to use. For example, they have case studies and testimonials. They have videos that they've done, podcast appearances, and there's just so much more to work with.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Tell me about LinkedIn. My audience is probably like, dude, stop asking about LinkedIn. I think I asked maybe Dakota Dakota was on the
Yeah.
podcast one time. So should I get into it? I've like dabbled, but I haven't done it really that
Oh,
much myself.
you would, yeah, you would do really well on LinkedIn. LinkedIn, it's funny. I made a tweet this morning. X is like great for meteoric growth,
Mhm.
but LinkedIn is great for predictable growth. Like X is so predict. I mean, LinkedIn is so predictable. Like our clients quite literally will grow in the most linear way. Like 100 followers this month, 200 followers next month, 300 followers the next month, 500 followers the next month. Like it's actually that easy. So
Mhm.
LinkedIn is great, and you don't even have to put that much effort into the content side. You only have to really post once a day, and then the actual growth mechanism is more so comments. So you'll want to do some comments and reply to your own comments and comment on other people's stuff. LinkedIn's chill. Hey, we'll do your LinkedIn. I think you'll crush it. Like Latin and the whole Latin life brand definitely has a place over there because there's a lot of business owners and people who are in the corporate space who you got to think like, what is the state of mind of someone? And I'm stealing this completely from Gary Vee, so apologies if I'm plagiarizing, but and he's Mr. LinkedIn right now. But you have to think, what is the state of mind of someone who's on LinkedIn? Trying to find a job, trying to change their situation, trying to change their life, maybe trying to buy something, right? Like LinkedIn's very much you're in that mindset. So for
Wow.
you, it's like, okay, who do you appeal to? People who might want to change their situation, get a new job, change their career. That's
Right, right,
kind of
right.
your target market. So it makes too much sense.
You are not wrong, and it's pretty good about like dropping links and stuff.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I mean,
yeah.
you could just, the way I like to do it is kind of focus on the growth side of it and just focus on putting out good content and gaining followers and letting the people who are coming to my profile make a decision based on a good profile. So, a good profile with a good banner, good call to actions in the bio, like book a call, good featured links, which is really cool. I wish Twitter had that. It's featured links with thumbnails. You have your whole about me section with a
Mm,
bio. LinkedIn profiles are much better at converting than other profiles.
that makes sense. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's funny. I was a LinkedIn hater, but we launched LinkedIn for so many clients and I can't, the data doesn't lie because we keep everything in a database and the data says that LinkedIn is good.
And I guess you probably started out as more of like a text only type of tweeter and building threads and stuff like that. And now, after Elon bought it, and every month seemingly, it's like getting more realified and video
Yeah.
heavy and
Yeah.
spaces and stuff like that. So you've been adapting to the new mediums, I'm sure.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, it's always going to be written based, but we've learned to accompany that with a lot of media, pictures, videos, stuff like that. We actually are just in the middle of hiring a graphic designer. So we have an in-house graphic designer that's creating custom graphics for clients. So we are very aware that media is good. Um, we love to talk, we love to use viral videos, we love to repurpose any podcasts or videos that the client's doing. I totally, yeah, media crushes on both Twitter and LinkedIn, so
Mhm.
definitely, very cognizant of that.
And you try to like reuse something, like I'll give you some theme or something, or like a blog post, and then you can make that into like a whole bunch of different pieces of content.
Yeah, totally. Like when we're in the onboarding phase, like we're definitely accumulating stuff like that because you want to have all your resources on you to like virality is a very engineered thing. It's like it happens by accident very rarely. So we're ultimately curating everything we have, videos, other videos that aren't even yours, like for your page. You don't even have to create videos because you can repurpose so many videos from around South America
Yeah,
to
we
your
do.
advantage.
We do.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like that's like exactly what you should be doing. Um, that's like such an amazing resource, but also yes, you can repurpose stuff like longer form newsletters and blogs and podcasts and turn that into smaller pieces of content. It's a lot of
Mhm.
things you can do. It's endless strategy.
Random question, but have you been looking into like KDP and Kindle publishing? Because I was just looking at this guy, Sean Allwet. I'm not sure if you've seen him before. He's like, it's just
No.
a, like YouTuber talking about Amazon stuff. And I'm like, wow, this is like a really good foundation for, there's just so much overlap with Twitter ghostwriting, I feel.
Yeah, it's funny. I know a couple of KDP guys, and I think it is a really cool uh, opportunity, and it pairs really well with. There is a lot of these companies too, like Scribe and publishing, and it's kind of like a ghostwriting book, and you use the book as a lead source. You can use the book to build your personal brand. I do actually want to do one day, honestly, like a cool book through one of these companies. But I've definitely seen the niche, and I think it's sick.
Okay, something to look at.
Yeah.
Dude, so you seriously have only been to the beach once? What can we do to get you over there today for the sunset?
It's funny because I'm like, it's funny because I'm like, I like to go to the beach for when I travel. So, like, for example, I'm headed to Marbella tomorrow, and I'm definitely going to be at the beach every day for 7 days straight. But then I'll come back home and I live on the beach. I just like won't, like, we don't make time for it. It's probably bad. But yeah, we need to go. It's funny because I'm a beach bum, but when you're locked in on business, sometimes it's like you just days, man, like you're just like locked, and then by the end of the day, you're just like, I want to chill. So I think when I was in Bali, I will say, like, I lived on the street that led to the sand, and I was just like scooter, so I could just jump on the scooter barefoot and go to the beach. I went way more. To be fair, where I live in Miami, I'm like, yes, I'm on the water. I see the water every day, but I'm not. There's no sand near me here in Brickell, so I would actually have to drive to the beach, which could be
Yeah,
15,
yeah.
half an hour away sometimes for the good beaches
Bro.
and with traffic. So,
Random question: you ever been to Hampton Beach, New Hampshire?
of course, I've been to Hampton. That's called Trampton, brother. I grew up there, man. Yeah. Yeah. Are you a New Englander?
Yeah, semi.
Semi New Englander? Yeah,
Yeah,
of
yeah.
course. I grew up Hampton Beach, Salisbury, Tripoli's Pizza, Christie's Pizza. That's literally my life.
Tripoli's Pizza.
Oh yeah, that's the famous beach pizza of Hampton Salisbury. It's like the square slices with the provolone.
Okay.
Ah, I want it now. I'm salivating.
Square slices. I'm putting a star. I see it on Google Maps. Salisbury. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm. Uh, I love it. It's so good. It's like sweet sauce too, but sometimes the wait can be like an hour, but it's worth it.
Very cool. So I'm curious about just like mindset and kind of where you're at with things. So um, how much of your success so far do you think has been mentorship, and maybe you've done some like formal mentorships, paid for mentorships, or online or in person, or was it 100% just figuring things out as you go along? How could someone kind of replicate your success and maybe do it faster based on learnings from your journey?
Yeah, yeah, totally. It's funny when I first started, I had joined back in the day. JK Molina had a low ticket like Discord server. It was like $50 a month, and I joined that, and I learned some stuff and got some clients and created like engagement groups and all sorts of stuff, and that kind of got me off the ground to like a couple thousand a month. Then I joined. I basically reinvested everything I made into a $12,000 like cohort mastermind, which is ultimately what propelled me to 10K a month. Um, I reinvested that into another 12K program. That's ultimately what propelled me to 30K a month. Um, and then I went kind of cold on mentorship for a while. I would buy a lot of lower courses because I would tell my team, I'm like, if you guys see a course that you think can help with writing or anything like that, I'll buy it. So I bought everybody's courses that's in the writing space, and I added those. So I have like a course library, and then as you get higher up, it becomes harder to find good mentors. But I ended up getting a mentor in late 2023 that helped me build a lot of the infrastructure of my business. And even now, I've just reinvested in. I just bought this like what's it called, Agency Owner Association by Eric Sue. It was like $200 a month. I'm always looking for like a mentor or of sorts, whether it's from afar or not. I bought Agency 8X, which is another course. So I'm just giving people free promo right now. So I bought like probably like 4 or 5 high ticket agency related mentorship programs or coaching programs.
Jeez, that's
So
huge.
yeah.
That's a man that reinvests. Holy shit.
Yeah, well, that doesn't even include like I went to the scaling workshop, Alex Hormozy scaling workshop in Las Vegas. So we flew out there to acquisition headquarters. That was like 5K. Um, even my girlfriend Julia, and this is just mine. Everything she's invested in, I've had access to, and everything I've invested in, she's had access to. So that's been like double trouble on terms. So it's been six figures on coaching, mentorship, and stuff like that. So it's no joke. That isn't something someone just says to grift you, right? It's like actually important. Otherwise, you're just figuring it out yourself. And I've played that game as well. I've been an entrepreneur since I was 19, and I didn't succeed until I was 24. So clearly in those 5 years something went wrong. So I think it's important to have good mentors.
Yeah, just good to have a system, a proven path, right?
100%, and just have the answers, because what I figured out too is that, especially if you're at zero, like broke, you should just copy and paste somebody's business. That's what you should do. You need to just like make money. So that's what I did. I copy and pasted someone's business, and then you iterate from there and make it into your own thing. And now there's no business that looks anything like the BirdHous now, because it's just so unique.
Why is that?
I just think it's been iterated to a point where it's like it's a niche of one. There's no Twitter, LinkedIn, ghostwriting agency that specializes in monetizing for mostly info products. It's just so niche. But mostly that's just come from iterating with who we think we serve the best. We serve those people the best, so that's why we've niched down to those people, and that only comes from trial and error. And it happens to be such a new market. Twitter, LinkedIn, ghostwriting is really only like 2 years old. So that's probably why we don't have any serious competition yet.
And random question, by the way, what is high ticket in your opinion?
Probably like minimum 2,000 is is typically high ticket. High ticket enough where it has to be sold on a sales call for the most part. We have some that don't, but for the most part, it's high ticket enough to be sold in a sales call. I think our lowest successful client price point was like 2,500 bucks. But we've worked with like as low as 2,000 a couple times.
Hmm. And so I've heard things like you want to have maybe like a 100% virtual product for 100 to $300 range, something like that, and then like a maybe it's mid tier, maybe it's even 800 bucks, who knows? And then the next step up is that kind of 4K, give or take, high ticket product. So you have like a low, medium, and a high, or just a low and a high.
Yeah, yeah, that's like a traditional ascension model. It's interesting that the space has evolved in a lot. I think traditional ascension is still can still work really well. What I've preferred is people who just go straight to, especially if you're in a business that is like in like hungry mode, which I consider like 0 to 100K a month. Like you don't need all of these offers at that level unless it's like the demand is just outsized. Like if there's so much demand for that low ticket product, then yes, have it by all means. But if you're just like trying to maximize the speed in which you can reach quote unquote 100K a month, which is just arbitrary, but that's like people's goal. I actually prefer just straight high ticket to start, and then go with the high ticket, get to that level, and then reverse engineer it back down to a low ticket, either a low ticket subscription community or one off digital products. Like my girlfriend Julia, she scaled to basically six figures a month, and then now is starting having some low ticket offer options for people, and they work in conjunction. But typically you'll want, what I've seen is low ticket offers 1 to 150 bucks, and then a high ticket offer 2 to 8K, 2 to 10K, whatever, 2 to 7K, and then a mega high ticket, which is typically like inner circle mastermindish, one-on-one mentorship opportunity, and those are always 5 figures. So in my experience, that's like the price points that have worked.
Hmm. Okay, I like that advice. Just focus on the high ticket. Don't distract yourself trying to sell some fifty
Yeah,
dollar thing.
yeah, because so you're at like 4K, and then you're trying to sling like a $50 PDF. It's like, well, you could just sell the 4 or 5K product 20 times a month, and if you can't even do that consistently, then why are you trying to sling this? How many times are you gonna have to sell this $100 PDF to make 4K? Right, 40 times. It's very unlikely unless you have a massive YouTube audience or something. So with Twitter specifically, if these guys, a lot of our clients, 10K, 20K followers, like you can go make 30, 40, 50, 100K a month off of just that audience if you do it really efficiently.
Okay, I like it. So no plans of going back to work in at Fidelity or commercial banking in Boston or something.
No, no, no. It's funny. I had a right before I started. right before I went into like the whole crypto like day trading thing, I had an interview at, was it MFS? It's an investment bank in Boston. And I got to the second round and I just completely ghosted. I just completely didn't show up. I actually never had a traditional corporate 9 to 5. Straight out of high school, when I went to college, I 1 year into college, I joined the military and I was in the Army National Guard. Um, Before that, I was doing dishes and like buttering toast at a diner, but I never had like a corporate suits 9 to 5 job. So I don't plan on starting, and I don't plan on going back.
No, you don't want to do a Harvard MBA and then go into investment banking in New York City?
Harvard MBA, I might do it for the vibes, but but no, I don't plan on going into any finance, anything.
You like the freedom that you have?
I do like the freedom.
Amazing. Marbella tomorrow. You packed?
Marbella tomorrow, absolutely not. You know how it goes with packing. We packed the last minute. So yeah, no, tomorrow night I'm headed out, red eye flight.
Okay. Well, we'll make sure to give you some time to get to packing. Coming up on an hour here, Marcos. Do you want to maybe take this time to share a final message with the audience?
Yeah, no, I always say like from a lifestyle perspective, especially for this target audience, definitely get out there and travel and do it remote, because I think we are blessed to live in a day and age where you're able to do it like that and live wherever you want and go wherever you want. So definitely do that, and definitely just stick to one thing and keep going. I think one of the big mistakes I made when I first started was I wasn't sticking to one thing. I was jumping from, side hustle to side hustle. If you just focus on one thing, don't get shiny object syndrome, it ends up working out, and you'll succeed.
Yeah, solid advice. So obviously, links will be in the show notes where people can contact Marcos on Twitter and all that good stuff. This has been another episode of the My Latin Life podcast. My guest again, Marcos Ruiz, CEO of BirdHous, Twitter ghostwriting, based in Miami, Florida. Thank you to Marcos for doing this. Thank you to the audience for listening. Guys, please be sure to like, subscribe wherever you're listening to this. Maybe it's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, X. Be sure to leave a comment, subscribe. We drop 2 episodes a week with amazing guests. We won't learn this episode. Ciao for now.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
This episode of the My Latin Life podcast is brought to you in part by BitRefill. BitRefill is the best way to spend your crypto in Latin America. Purchase gift cards or mobile refills from more than 3,500 brands in 186 countries instantly, safely, and privately. Visit bitrefill.com for more information. This episode of the My Latin Life podcast is brought to you in part by Job Stacking. Introducing Rolf Haltza's Paycheck Multiplication Layering Method, a revolutionary approach that redefines the traditional career path. This is Rolf's new Done With You program, where he'll work with you to implement job stacking for yourself. With this method, Rolf contractually guarantees that you'll be able to double your income in 45 days. So, are you ready to step out of the shadows of job insecurity and step into a world of career abundance? Then just click the link in the description of this episode, book a call with Rolf, and start walking the path of unleashing your earning potential with job stacking.